Jai Atmeshwar, Samarpan Yog of the Himalayas, Part 1, Episode 40. Gurudev continued, there are three types of death. The first type of death is Adi Bhautik, that is, over and above the physical. This is death which takes place before its time. Death which takes place suddenly because of some severe physical illness. The person's lifespan is not yet complete and death occurs. Such a death is called Adi Bhautik death. If a person gets proper medical attention and facilities, he can be saved from this type of death. Mostly, people die through this type of death. The second type of death is Adi Daivik, that is, over and above the divine. This death is caused as a result of committing suicide or due to some accident. In this case, also death takes place suddenly, whereas the person's lifespan still remains to be lived. The person still has a desire to continue living, but death occurs. The third type of death is Adhyatmic, that is, spiritual death. This type of death is the final death of the human form. A person attains liberation after this death because he has no desire to live anymore, nor does he have a goal to attain. But man has to take several births in order to get this type of death. In this type of death, man's attraction for the physical body is also left behind. Several saints and Mahatmas invite this type of death. They take their physical body up to a stage where it becomes very frail, so that the desire for one's physical body does not become a barrier on the path to their liberation. Then their soul leaves the physical body. They invite such a death so that they do not have to acquire another physical body. They distribute all their spiritual energy in different mediums and themselves become energyless. Then they cure the sicknesses of others, and in the process, they take over that sickness into their own body. That is why these saints suffer from serious illnesses, or we can say that they keep on burning until their last moments like sandalwood incense sticks and spread fragrance to others, and also keep the surrounding atmosphere scented. Even after they leave, their fragrance lingers around their resting place. In this way, when the soul takes birth again and again with the pure wish of helping others, then it becomes its nature to help others. As a result of this helping nature, an aura is formed around the physical body, and that always remains even after their death. This is why, even after several years, we experience waves of consciousness and vibrations around their shrine, their samadhi, because the body which has been kept there was connected to millions of souls in its lifetime, and millions of souls were connected to it. Our soul can always experience those vibrations. That is why millions of souls visit the shrines of such gurus and acquire inner peace. The soul can acquire inner peace because when it goes near the shrine, its identity becomes void, and this happens because there is a collectivity of millions of souls around the shrine, the samadhi. Thus, we can understand how much power there is in the collectivity of Paramatma. It is the goal of every soul to attain a complete, absolutely spiritual death and to free itself from this cycle of life and death. According to the spiritual canons, the spiritual principles, after man takes 7 births, he can attain liberation, and man has to go through this full cycle. There is no other way out of it. Yes, if one meets a living Sadguru in some birth, then because of his spiritual powers, the Sadguru can help man through the journey of 7 births in one birth itself. But the question is, where will one be able to find such a Sadguru? And how will we be able to recognize him? How will we be able to believe and accept him? One can find such a Sadguru in life only when one stays in the present and searches for him and finds him. Generally, one searches for the Sadguru in the past because he himself lives in the past, and therefore he will find a Sadguru of the past in some Sadguru's biography. Such a Guru of the past will be imaginary and not the truth, because a biography of any Sadguru is written several years after he passes away. Who knows how much of it is the truth and how much is imaginary? Because the writer would be a devotee of the Sadguru. Why would any devotee describe his Sadguru's faults? He will always write only good things about his Sadguru, and anyone who reads that Sadguru's biography won't understand that a Sadguru can also have faults. This is because in any Sadguru's biography, only his good qualities are praised and his virtues are extolled. His good qualities are magnified and narrated, and this exalted version that is written is not always the truth and appears unreal. A body cannot exist without the process of excretion. When the body exists, then excretion will also take place. Similarly, physical faults will also be present together with the physical body. Until today, no physical body has been created without faults, nor will it ever be created in the future. Even a statue cannot be made without faults. Some fault or the other remains in every idol and every statue that is made. Thus, when a statue cannot be made without faults, how can the human body be without faults? A well-known sculptor has said, "I have created 1065 statues, and in every idol, some fault or the other remains." Yes, if I make a new statue today, then I can definitely say that that idol won't have a single fault that was present in those 1065 statues. But this new idol won't be flawless either. I will create the 1066th fault in that new statue. It will definitely be created. This will happen because no statue can be created without faults. How can the Sadguru's body be present without faults? Faults will definitely be present in the Sadguru's body too. And the Sadguru in our books is free of faults. Therefore, he is imaginary. And then we start searching for the imaginary Sadguru in the present. The beginning of our search goes in the wrong direction because no such Sadguru exists. So how can one meet him? Man's faults are proof that he is alive, and then man searches for a Sadguru without faults. He wanders from one Sadguru to another because when he surrenders before a Sadguru and then notices his faults, he leaves him and surrenders before another Sadguru. He notices faults in him too and leaves him. Then he surrenders before the third Sadguru, and on finding faults in him, he leaves him too. Thus, you keep searching all your life, but you yourself are not without faults. So how will you be able to find a Sadguru who is free of faults? It is man's basic nature that first of all, he notices faults easily. So, he will definitely find faults in any living Sadguru, and that is also the reason why he is not able to see faults in the biography of the Sadguru in whom he believes, because that Sadguru is not present in the disciple's life. If this disciple had been present in the biographical Sadguru's lifetime, then he would not have believed in him because he would have noticed the Sadguru's faults. Faults are immediately noticeable in a physical body, just as one notices the skin that covers the physical body. The living Sadguru does not want to attract anyone to himself, and that is why he won't hide his faults. Actually, the Sadguru is a saint and is above any behavior. On the other hand, his behavior is an illusion which deceives us. These Sadgurus make people aware of their faults so that people may see their faults and keep away from them. There is only one way of keeping oneself free of the Sadguru's faults, and that is total surrender. Because after total surrender, one won't see any faults. Surrender is not always that of one body towards another physical body. It is surrender of one soul towards another soul. When you are at the soul level and your attention is on the Sadguru's soul, then you won't be able to see his faults because faults exist at the physical level. The soul is a portion of Paramatma. You will get a vision of Paramatma. You will get an experience of Paramatma. You will get the experience of consciousness, and then one won't see the living Sadguru. One won't hear him. One will only experience his presence. One will feel every moment of his presence in his mind. One's attention won't stray to the fact that he is showering his grace. One won't notice what he is doing or what he is saying. In reality, the Sadguru does not speak, nor is he seen. He only makes one experience him. That is why one should experience him when he is close to us. I too obtained the presence of several Sadgurus in my lifetime, but I did not find any Sadguru who was without faults. It is true that my attention never went to their faults as a result of their flow of consciousness. This is the one and only path for man to attain liberation. The state of liberation means to get inspiration of a Sadguru from a book and to actually search for a living form of Sadguru. To accept the Sadguru together with his faults and to surrender completely to him. In this way, one does not notice his faults and achieves the experience of Paramatma and continues to live in the proximity of that experience. Man can attain it in his lifetime while he exists in his physical body. One can accept the Sadguru as Paramatma, but one should do so with the knowledge that he is a human being and not Paramatma, that he is a medium of Paramatma, that one can reach Paramatma through him, but he is not Paramatma. No physical body can be Paramatma, because Paramatma is not a physical body. He is an all-pervading universal energy. So how can he be an individual? Sadguru is a medium for attaining Paramatma. This type of quest for a Sadguru who is without faults takes us away from the Sadguru. Despite being close to him, we are not able to recognize him. One's spiritual progress also happens together with the progress of one's soul. A spiritual state is created in a sadhak due to his spiritual progress, and it is that spiritual state which brings him close to a Sadguru. Jai Atmeshwar. We will conclude our book reading for today's session over here. Thank you for listening.